Hello, everyone. We are back. We have just finished talking to Sheila. We will find Janice, and we were going to figure out what we're going to do. And I hope things work out that way. Let's go to the inn tap room.
The taproom of the Golden Sparrow Inn buzzes with an undercurrent of energy, but all you can feel is the rising tide of tension as you, Sheila, and a visibly agitated Janice sit huddled at a dimly lit table. Janice's hand is clenched around his mug, knuckles white, his eyes burning with a barely restrained fury. "You've got some nerve showing your face here," Janice hisses at Sheila, his voice a dangerous whisper. "After everything you've done, you expect us to just, what? Welcome you with open arms." The tension in the taproom of the Golden Sparrow Inn crackles like a lit fuse as Sheila's words cut through the air, sharp and unyielding. Her eyes, alight with a defiant fire, lock onto Janice's, challenging him to refute the urgency of their situation. "I don't care what you think," she states, her tone laced with a dismissive edge. "Believe me. We have more important things on our plate than your personal grievances." Janice's face turns red, a vein throbbing at his temple. His jaw muscles tense as he leans forward, gripping his axe, his entire frame shaking with barely restrained fury. "Personal grievances? You attempted to kill one of our own. That's not a grievance. It's despicable," he spits out, his voice laden with contempt. The air is thick with anticipation, the other patrons sensing the imminent eruption of violence. Your hand, steady and calm, reaches out to hold back his axe, a silent plea for restraint. Janice's eyes, burning with a sense of betrayal and injustice, lock onto yours. "And you will trust her? A murderer for the highest bidder," he questions, his voice a mix of disbelief and anger. Sheila leans back into her chair, smirking at him with undisguised mockery. "I prefer the term problem solver," she retorts, her voice laced with an edge of defiance. "But that is all in the past. I am a new woman now." The tension escalates, the air crackling between them. Janice looks like he's on the brink of exploding, his hand still hovering over his weapon, his entire body coiled like a spring ready to release.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and spend some money. Olivia, can we have a round of drinks here, please? You call out, hoping the familiar routine of the inn might bring some semblance of normalcy back to the situation. Yes, I'll put some ale in y'all, and y'all will be nice and calm, and you will be civilized.
Olivia, sensing the urgency in your voice, quickly makes her way over with a tray of drinks, her eyes wide with a mix of concern and curiosity. As she sets down the mugs, her presence seems to momentarily distract from the simmering conflict. You look at Janice and then at Sheila, your voice low and steady. "We're all on edge, and for good reason. But we need to be smart about this. Fighting among ourselves only serves those who want to see us fail. Let's drink, calm down, and then plan our next move with clear heads." With his hand slowly moving away from his axe, Janice glares at Sheila but gives a slight, reluctant nod. The moment of explosive tension eases slightly, though the air remains charged with a mix of distrust. "Now that we've relaxed a bit, there are some things you should know, Janice. Remember the orb in Lildhorp Burrow?" Janice's gaze shifts from the mug in his hand back to you, a flicker of recognition and unease crossing his features. The mention of the orb seems to momentarily ground him, redirecting his focus from his anger toward Sheila to the pressing matters at hand. He nods slowly, his voice still tight but more controlled now. "Yes, the orb. How could I forget? That cursed thing brought nothing but trouble."
Alright, which one do I choose? Going with two. It's more than just trouble now. It may be connected to the thefts we investigated and the murders the captain mentioned. There's an ancient prophecy about an orb darker than moonlight. It could be the very well be the one we encountered. And if it is, then what's happening in this city isn't random. It's orchestrated.
Sheila, with a glint of mischief in her eyes, leans back in her chair, clearly relishing the unfolding drama. You forgot the part about the foolish adventurer, she chimes in, her voice laced with a sardonic amusement that only she can afford in such grim times. Not helpful, Sheila, you mutter. Janus, meanwhile, seems to push past the initial shock, his expression hardening with the resolve forged in the fires of countless battles. So, we're saying that this isn't just some thieves getting lucky or a couple of isolated murders. This is all part of some grand scheme. By the gods, what have we gotten ourselves into? He looks between you and Sheila, a silent plea for sanity in a situation that seems to grow more absurd by the moment. And let's not forget, we're supposed to believe that an assassin who was sent to kill one of us is now our ally in this madness. I know how it sounds, Janus. But right now, we don't have the luxury of choice. We're in deep, and Sheila's information is our best lead. We need to figure out how the orb, the thefts, and the murders are connected. And we need to do it fast. Sheila, who had been watching the exchange silently, finally speaks up again. First, she says, her tone suggesting that she's well aware of the tension in the room, Ludo sends his greetings, and he may have an idea how to regain some of your memories. He asks to meet him in the deranged hermit. Janus opens his mouth, likely to voice another objection or suspicion regarding Sheila's switch in allegiance, but your glance stops him. It's a look that conveys the need for unity and trust, however fragile, in the face of the looming threat. Any idea what he has in mind, you ask, turning your attention back to Sheila. The prospect of regaining lost memories or understanding more about the ominous forces at play stirs a mix of hope and anxiety within you. Sheila shakes her head slightly, her expression unreadable. No, perhaps a spell of sorts, she replies with a shrug, her demeanor betraying none of the uncertainty that must surely be there. She pauses for a moment, her gaze drifting as if she's contemplating her next steps. I'll meet up with Jared again today, perhaps he has found something more in the meantime. Janus, who has been silently processing the conversation, finally speaks up, his voice a steady rumble. All right, then. Let's head to the deranged hermit and see what Ludo has up his sleeve. We can't afford to waste any more time.
Let's go to the deranged hermit. We can get there in 2 hours.
As you stand at Lanford's crossroads, you recall its quicker routes. Narrow back streets, hidden passages, and paths known only to locals, now familiar to you. Taking a shortcut lets you bypass the usual crowds and distractions, reducing your travel time to about 2 hours. Where will you go?
Alright, where will I go? I'll go to the arena.
You make your way through the familiar shortcuts, navigating past bustling streets and quieter paths until you arrive at Lanford's arena.
For one, right, we go here. Then here at the hermit. approach the tavern and we're gonna go meet my friend.
As you enter the deranged hermit, the cacophony of the inn strikes you, a twisted mixture of excitement and dread washing over you. The place pulsates with the energy of its patrons. People are laughing, talking loudly, and some dance to the throbbing beat of music that fills every corner. The walls, painted in garish colors with symbols and images, seem to shift and change as your gaze drifts over them. A haze of smoke hangs in the air, distorting your vision and carrying the mingled scents of cheap tobacco, sweat, and stale ale. Navigating through the lively crowd, you spot Ludo sitting at a secluded table in the far corner, his figure partially hidden in shadow. As you approach, his face, illuminated briefly by the flicker of a nearby candle, is an image of solemn determination. He stands as you reach the table, his eyes meeting yours with a sense of urgency. "Come," he says in a low voice, barely audible over the din, "I rented a room upstairs. We'll have more privacy there." You and Janice exchange a quick, understanding glance, then follow Ludo as he weaves his way through the crowd. The noise and chaos of the lower floor seem to fade with each step you take up the narrow, creaking staircase. Reaching the top, Ludo leads you down a dimly lit hallway, the muffled sounds from below now a distant hum. He stops before a nondescript wooden door, producing a key from within his cloak. With a soft click, the door swings open, revealing a small, sparsely furnished room. A single window lets in the faint glow of the moon, casting long shadows across the wooden floor. "Here," Ludo says, stepping inside and gesturing for you to follow. The room feels detached from the revelry below, a secluded island in a sea of noise and movement. He begins to set up the space, pulling a few items from a bag: candles, a vial of clear liquid, and a small, intricately carved talisman. "Are you both ready?" he asks, his voice steady. "Once we start, there's no turning back until it's done. Remember, whatever you see or feel, it's important to stay grounded in the present. I'll be here to guide you through, but it's going to take everything you've got to navigate your memories. Let's do this." Ludo begins the ritual, lighting the candles in a precise order, their flames casting an eerie glow on his face. He mutters incantations under his breath, the ancient words a soft hum that fills the room. He then opens the vial, and a sweet, pungent aroma fills the air, making your head spin slightly. "Drink this," he instructs, passing the vial first to you and then to Janice. "It will help open your mind's eye and protect your psyche from the strain of the journey. Take a sip." The liquid is bitter yet strangely invigorating, a rush of warmth flooding through you. Ludo then holds the talisman, chanting more fervently now. The air around you seems to thicken, the whispers of the past echoing just beyond the veil of the present. The world begins to blur at the edges, the room, Ludo, and Janice melting away until there's nothing but a swirling miasma of colors and sounds. You feel yourself slipping, falling backward into the depths of your own mind, into the hidden crevices where your lost memories lie. Under the vast expanse of the midnight blue sky, you recline on the cool grass, the heavens sprawled out like a canvas speckled with countless twinkling stars. The night's tranquility forms a stark contrast to the storm of emotions churning in your heart.
I'll go at one right next to me. Claire edges closer, her warmth a gentle reprieve from the cold. I feel the soft cadence of her breath, a silent testament to our shared bond.
She breaks the encompassing silence with a gentle sigh. "We'll still see each other, you know." "I'll visit," she murmurs, her words floating out into the night, attempting to soothe the tight knot of foreboding in your chest. You want to believe her, but a deep-seated unease lingers, unshaken. You open your mouth to respond, but words elude you. Instead, the silence between you swells with unspoken sentiments, a heavy tapestry woven from threads of fears, hopes, and unuttered promises. It's a comfortable silence, one that speaks volumes, filled with deep, unspoken understanding from years of shared experiences. Claire's gaze locks with yours, her eyes reflecting the starlight, earnest and imploring. No tears, no goodbyes. We still have tomorrow, the festival, remember, she repeats, a gentle insistence in her tone. Janice will be there too. He booked us a table at the Dancing CRONE. Despite the unease, a small smile finds its way onto your lips. The festival, with its promise of laughter, dancing, and momentary forgetfulness, offers a brief respite. The idea of spending it with Claire and Janice brings a flicker of warmth to the cold apprehension within you. The night unfolds around you, the stars bearing silent witness to the quiet, poignant moment shared between two souls on the cusp of change. And as the night deepens, you cling to Claire's words, to the promise of tomorrow, to the hope that the bond you share will endure. The tranquil scene fades. As you push through the heavy wooden door of the Dancing CRONE Tavern, a wall of sound and energy hits you. The place is a living, breathing entity, pulsating with the rhythm of lutes and flutes. Their melodies weave through the air, a tapestry of sound narrating tales of age-old rituals and perpetual delight. The room is awash with movement, revelers sway and twirl in time with the music, their faces alight with the joy of the moment. You weave through the throng, the scent of spiced ale and wood smoke filling your nostrils. The laughter and chatter of the crowd create a backdrop of constant, vibrant noise. Then, like a beacon through the chaos, you hear the familiar sound of Claire's laughter. It's a sound that's always been able to cut through the noise of the world, drawing you in. Her eyes catch yours across the room, alight with enthusiasm and excitement. She beckons you over with a broad smile, her hand gesturing animatedly. Look what we've found, she beams as you approach, presenting a vintage bottle of wine with the pride of a treasure hunter. The bottle is aged, its label worn, but the promise of its contents sparkles in her eyes. It's a relic from a bygone era, a symbol of the night's potential for memories to be made. Around you, the tavern continues its seamless dance of life. Faces glow with joy and abandon, their laughter weaving into the music to form a mosaic of pure celebration. The atmosphere is infectious, a current of energy that sweeps up all in its path. When Claire asks shyly, "Will you dance with me?" the answer is already on your lips before she finishes, "Of course." The music swirls around you as you follow her to the dancing floor. It's a cheerful, lively tune that seems to fill every corner of your being, compelling your body to move with the rhythm. Claire's hand is warm in yours, her touch gentle yet firm as she guides you through the steps. Her movements are graceful and assured, her familiarity with the dance clear in every step and turn. As you move together, an electric connection sparks between you. The world around you begins to blur and fade, the crowd, the noise, and the very walls of the tavern melting away until there is nothing left but the space that you and Claire share. It's as if you're in a world of your own, a bubble of joy and companionship set adrift in the sea of festivities. Her laughter rings in your ears, a sound more melodious than any tune the musicians could play. As the festival reaches its zenith, the Dancing CRONE Inn is a whirlwind of activity and merriment. Amidst the revelry, a stranger weaves through the crowd, approaching your table with a grace that seems almost out of place in the boisterous tavern. She asks about the empty seat beside you with an enigmatic smile, her eyes locking onto yours with an intensity that feels both unsettling and strangely familiar. There's a flicker of recognition, a sense of déjà vu that you can't quite place, making your heart beat a little faster, a little more erratically. Despite a nagging voice in the back of your mind urging caution, you find yourself nodding, inviting the stranger to join you. She slides into the seat with an air of belonging that doesn't fit the situation. When she asks for a drink, her voice is soft yet compelling, and you signal the server almost reflexively, though this level of attentiveness to a stranger feels out of character for you. Claire's reaction is immediate. She gives you a look tinged with jealousy and confusion, her mouth opening as if to protest or explode with a flurry of questions. But as the stranger Rayla, she introduces herself meets Claire's gaze, there's a startling calmness in her eyes. She claims to be Claire's sister and, even more bizarrely, your closest friend. The words send a jolt through you, rattling your sense of reality. Claire has only a brother, Ludo. The notion of this woman being her sister, let alone your dearest friend, is absurd. Yet as Rayla speaks, the world around you begins to tilt. Her hair, a nondescript shade when she first approached, now shimmers with a color that seems to shift subtly in the tavern's dim light. Her presence, her very identity, morphs before your eyes, slipping from a distant, unfamiliar figure to someone whose features are edged with a sense of intimacy and history. The room spins as your mind races with conflicting memories. Snippets of experiences and moments with Rayla flash before you, yet they clash with everything you know to be true. It's as though reality itself is warping, bending around this new narrative she's weaving with her presence and her claims. Amidst the rising chaos of your thoughts, Rayla places a book on the table. It's old, the cover worn and the pages yellowed with age. She slides it toward you, her fingers lingering on the cover as if to emphasize its importance. Perhaps this will help clarify things, she suggests, her voice a melody of confidence and mystery. As the whirlwind of memories begins to fade, the vivid scenes of festivals, laughter, and unsettling encounters dissolve like mist at dawn. Slowly, the world around you coalesces back into reality, and you find yourself waking up in the shabby, uncomfortable bed of the rented room in the deranged hermit. The mattress is lumpy, and the linen is coarse against your skin, a stark reminder of the inn's lack of luxury. Light filters through the grimy windows, casting a dull, muted glow across the room. The quality of the light and the silence that pervades the space mark a significant passage of time since Ludo's spell began. Your head feels heavy, your thoughts a tangled mess of the memories you've revisited and the reality you've returned to. Claire shines through the fog of your recollections like a guiding beacon. Her laughter and warmth, the intimate moments under the stars, are now overshadowed by the acute pain of her absence and the looming danger she faces. You sit up, rubbing the sleep from your eyes, and take in the room. It's as uninviting as you remember, with peeling wallpaper and a musty smell that seems to cling to every surface. But what truly unsettles you is the absence of both Ludo and Janice. The room is empty, save for the few items Ludo brought for the ritual, now scattered haphazardly on the small table by the bed. A twinge of annoyance mixes with your concern. Being left alone in this decrepit place, without any explanation or note, isn't just inconsiderate, it's worrying. You'd expected, at the very least, to wake up to their familiar presences, to debrief and discuss the flood of memories and revelations that Ludo's spell unearthed. You swing your legs over the side of the bed and stand, your movements sluggish, your body still heavy with the remnants of the spell. The room feels oppressively quiet. You sit up, rubbing the sleep from your eyes, and take in the room. It's as uninviting as you remember, with peeling wallpaper and a musty smell that seems to cling to every surface. But what truly unsettles you is the absence of both Ludo and Janice. The room is empty, save for the few items Ludo brought for the ritual, now scattered haphazardly on the small table by the bed. A twinge of annoyance mixes with your concern. Being left alone in this decrepit place, without any explanation or note, isn't just inconsiderate, it's worrying. You'd expected, at the very least, to wake up to their familiar presences, to debrief and discuss the flood of memories and revelations that Ludo's spell unearthed. You swing your legs over the side of the bed and stand, your movements sluggish, your body still heavy with the remnants of the spell. The room feels oppressively quiet. Gathering your bearings, you stand up from the uncomfortable bed, the need to find Janice and Ludo driving you forward. The room feels even more suffocating now, knowing you're alone in this decrepit inn. You quickly make your way to the door, the old wood creaking loudly as you open it, and step into the dimly lit hallway. The musty scent of the deranged hermit is even stronger here, a mix of old wood, spilled ale, and an indefinable musk that seems to permeate the very walls. You descend a narrow, creaking staircase, each step echoing through the silent inn.
Alright, I'm at the end and looks like I'm going here. Alright, I guess I'll talk to Lucy.
The usual clamor of patrons is absent, replaced by a heavy quiet that weighs on you as you reach the bottom. The main room of the inn is nearly deserted, a stark contrast to the lively, albeit unsettling, atmosphere it usually holds. "I'm looking for my companions," you begin, your voice controlled, but the undercurrent of urgency is hard to disguise. One's a man with a strong jaw and an intense gaze, dark hair neatly kept, a commanding presence. His name's Janus. You pause, hoping the description will spark recognition. The other's more of a thinker, scholarly. He has a roguish charm about him, hair a bit wild, eyes always calculating. That's Ludovic. They were both here with me. Have you seen them? She regards you with a mix of indifference and faint curiosity, the kind that comes from countless similar encounters in her line of work. "No," she replies curtly, not even bothering to lift her gaze from the table. "No, as in you haven't seen them, or you did but won't tell." She regards you with a mix of indifference and faint curiosity, the kind that comes from countless similar encounters in her line of work. "No," she replies curtly, not even bothering to lift her gaze from the table. "No, as in you don't know, or you know but won't tell." Lucy's expression doesn't change, but there's a slight shift in her posture, a readiness to engage now that the prospect of a transaction is clear. "Sorry, but as you can see, I'm working," she repeats.
Hmm. Let's start with a drink. We can put it on Ludo's tab, you suggest with a mischievous grin.
She relaxes slightly. "That's more like it," she says, a note of approval in her voice. "We can chat while I wait for clients." As Lucy takes a deliberate sip from her glass, the ambient noise of the deranged hermit seems to fade into the background, her presence commanding your full attention. Her gaze is direct, and you notice the sharp intelligence in her eyes, a sharpness that misses little within these walls. "Let's talk then," she begins, setting down her glass with a soft clink. "You're a friend of Ludo? I saw you coming in with him yesterday." You simply nod, not wanting to divulge too much too quickly. "He had me looking about his sister," she adds nonchalantly, the brandy in her glass catching the light as she takes another casual sip. "Claire," you ask, the name coming out more as a confirmation than a question. Yes, whatever, her name. A red-haired chick with short hair, kinda intense, she describes with a shrug, clearly not as invested in the details as you are. Claire, you affirm, a twinge of concern lacing your voice. Anyway, Lucy continues, seemingly unfazed by the emotional weight her words carry for you, a client of mine had seen her a week back leaving the town. This new information sends a ripple of both hope and urgency through you. Claire had been seen, and not just in any random sighting, but leaving town.
You lean in, trying to mask the sudden acceleration of your heartbeat. Did your client say anything else? Which direction she was heading? Was she with anyone?
Lucy watches you for a moment, assessing. Then she leans back, her eyes narrowing thoughtfully. You seem to really care about this girl, she observes. If you want to know more, you're going to have to give me a good reason to spill what I know.
Alright, I'm about to give her some coins.
Lucy's scrutinizing gaze lingers on you for a moment longer before she accepts the farthings, the coins disappearing into her pocket with a swift, practiced motion. Her shrug is nonchalant, yet you detect a hint of finality in the gesture. Already told Ludo everything, she says, her tone suggesting that as far as she's concerned, the matter is closed. Now, unless you want to actually hire me, off you go. The dismissal is clear, but whatever Lucy knows about Claire's whereabouts, Ludo knows as well. All you need now is to find Ludo. Or Janice.
Thank you for your time, you say, with as much courtesy as you can muster.
Her only response is a non-committal hum, her attention already shifting away from you and back to the room at large. Leave.
Alright, that looks like that is over. It's early in the morning, and it looks like I'm just going to have to just go through the town or find something else to do. So, thank you for watching, and have a nice day.